welcome to our channel Anything Medicine. Today we are starting a neurology topic, which is extra-pyramidal system diseases. Especially today we will emphasize on Parkinson's disease. So first of all, what is extra-pyramidal diseases? It's a diseases that characterized by a lesion in the extra-pyramidal system, which include some of these structures which are here. Mainly putamen nucleus or quadrate or striatum they call it, globus, which divide into globus externus and internus, and subthalamic nucleus or nuclei, and substantia nigra, and thalamus and cortex. All these are connected in two main pathways, which called direct pathway, which involve the cortex and quadrate and internus part of globus pallidus, then thalamus, then again to cortex, and if the same pathway but involve the externus and internus globus pallidus along with subthalamic nucleus, it will be indirect pathway. We will not go emphasize on these two pathways because it will be more physiology. So today our target is to emphasize on Parkinson's disease as a neurological disease. But we would like to say that Parkinson's disease is a disease that characterized by a lesion in the direct pathway. So a lesion in the direct pathway mainly cause Parkinson's disease. A lesion in the indirect pathways cause another diseases like chorea, dystonia, hemibalismus, and what can be like Wilson also can affect the indirect. So all the indirect are separated from direct. Let's notice also that direct lesion, the lesion of direct pathway will result in hypokinesia, while the lesion in indirect pathway, so all these other diseases that I mentioned will have hyperkinesia. Okay, so we agreed on that. So Parkinson's disease is a disease that characterized by a disbalance due to the damage of direct pathway. There will be a disbalance between acetylcholine and dopamine. So mainly dopamine goes down and acetylcholine goes up, or it just will go up as relative amount. So let's agree on something also, that all diseases that have high acetylcholine, these diseases will characterized by Hypertonia. So let's notice that all extra-pyramidal diseases have high acetylcholine finally as a net result. So all the diseases will have hypertonia except chorea. Because chorea have low acetylcholine and high dopamine. So chorea is an exception here, notice. All diseases have hypertonia. If I tell you dystonia, if I tell you hemibalismus, if I tell you Parkinson, you will tell me all diseases are extra-pyramidal system and they characterized by hypertonia except the chorea. It will has hypotonia, because the net result of the destruction that cause chorea will result in high dopamine amount. So high dopamine, let's agree that high dopamine cause hypotonia. Now let's focus on dopamine. So what are the characteristics of the diseases that resulted from the diseases of extra-pyramidal system? First of all, there will be an involuntary and static movement. So involuntary we know what's mean, but static it means that in the time of rest, this involuntary movement will be in the time of rest, while during the voluntary movement that initiated by the patient, this involuntary movement will be disappeared. Okay, let's like clarify why just these symptoms occur. It is due to the function of extra-pyramidal system. What's the function of extra-pyramidal system? One of the function of this system is to filter the unwanted or unmeant movement. So right now, while you are sitting watching the video or doing anything, watching TV or something, during the time of rest, your brain, your cortex, mainly area 4, which is pyramidal area, keep on sending and firing action potentials, signals. Those signals will be filtrated if there will be no need for those signals. Will be filtrated by extra-pyramidal system. So that's why you will keep on resting time. But if there will be damage for this system, these signals will not be filtered and it will be reflected as involuntary movement. Next is emotions. We know that extra-pyramidal system, so next characteristic is the emotions, that there will be some change in emotion. So, okay, here we mean by this is like the symptoms, the involuntary static symptoms increase with the emotions, exaggerated with the emotions, and decrease the time of sleep. Okay, that emotional expression I'll talk about it later. So, third character. So, these first two characters are common for all extra-pyramidal diseases. But now, beginning of this point, we'll talk about characters of Parkinson. So these first two are common for all extra-pyramidal diseases. While next, from here and going down, forward, we are talking about just characters of Parkinson. So third character, that the manifestations of Parkinson mainly are distal manifestations. So if I tell you tremor, mainly we mean by distal manifestation. So tremor in extremities, distal. And these tremors will be, and these manifestations will be regular. It means in the same place. If it started in the finger, it will keep on in the finger, not change. And these also manifestations are rhythmic. It means rhythmic in same movement. Okay, and same interval between. And these movements are targeted movement. So remember, these four are specially for Parkinson. Yes, these two you can mention it with any extra-pyramidal disease. But these four just for Parkinson, from 3 till 6. Just to make it easy, from 3 till 6, opposite for chorea. So, not distal for chorea, not regular for chorea, not rhythmic for chorea, untargeted for chorea. So, for chorea, just you can mention same first two and opposite last 4. Okay? Next. So, we mentioned the general characteristics of the disease. Now, we are going for the etiology of Parkinson's disease. What can be the etiology? Mainly, it's idiopathic. And it's occurred during the aging process. So we have identified that this disease is associated with chromosome number 4. And mainly we will notice some bodies called Lewis body. Lewis bodies. These bodies we will find out in neurons, especially in neurons of substantia nigra. These bodies are characters for Parkinson's disease. We'll find out in the dopaminergic neurons in substantia nigra. So, first cause is idiopathic. Second cause is post-encephalitis. Mainly the encephalitis that's caused by influenza and syphilis. So here there's a strange relation, because the time interval between encephalitis and the Parkinson disease, the onset of Parkinson disease and the encephalitis is a long interval. We are talking about years here. So some guys who developed the encephalitis now, for example, they will have the Parkinson after 3 years or 4 years. So there's a strange relation between encephalitis and Parkinson. Third cause, so it's important to notice that we are mentioning the causes due to the predominance and the more common. So third cause is atherosclerosis and diabetes mellitus. We know that these two diseases result in hypoxia, and hypoxia result in degeneration. Fourth cause is Wilson disease, and I have said that Wilson disease mainly damage the indirect pathway, so result in hyperkinesia. So this is a separated disease, result in separated manifestations, but can cause sometimes Parkinson. Fifth, TTT, so trauma, tumor, toxin. Let's notice about trauma. We know a famous example from our life. There is a famous character that we know, Muhammad Ali Kla. He was a boxer and he got Parkinson due to repeated trauma. So we don't mean here by a simple trauma and once. Here it's meant that the trauma should be severe and repeated, so can cause finally degeneration of this neuron because they are more sensitive. And toxins and tumors. Toxins can be also drugs. Which drug can cause Parkinson? Mainly there's a drug called reserpine. We know this drug for hypertension, reserpine. And any other toxins. Okay, let's note also that smoking improves Parkinson's disease, improve Parkinson's symptoms, not the disease, the aggressiveness of the disease, but improve the symptoms. So patients mainly tend to smoke because they feel better when they smoke. And let's note also that smoking also improves another disease. Just in medicine we know 2 diseases that got improved by smoking. The other disease is ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis. Just, it's interesting to mention that smoking improves ulcerative colitis and can cause Crohn's disease. So just 2 diseases that we know got improved by smoking. The other note that we would like to mention that favapine also can help the Parkinson patients because it contains levodopa. So Parkinson patients love to eat the favapine, prefer to eat if they can eat it. Next is clinical manifestation. So what we will notice in Parkinson patient is tremor. As I said, there is involuntary movement here in the general characteristics. So first manifestation is tremor, and this tremor will be in distal. Yes, we said the general characteristics. So we relate these characteristics for the clinical manifestation. So we say tremor, and as we say, tremor will be in the distal. Mainly the tremor start unilateral and mainly on the right side of the body and mainly on the upper side. So in the upper right extremity, start mainly distally and then goes down on the same side, and then if it will proceed, it will continue to the other side. But mainly Parkinson's disease is unilateral. And we have to differentiate this tremor with other causes with other diseases that cause tremor, like familial tremor, like age tremor, like kinetic tremor. Remember, kinetic tremor is a tremor that caused during voluntary movement. This tremor that we are talking about is a static tremor, as we say in the general characteristics. It means that this tremor during the rest. So there's a difference. And kinetic tremor caused by cerebellum damage, while this rest tremor is caused by extra-pyramidal damage. Next, we are proceeding. Hypertonia. Hypertonia is due to acetylcholine predominance and dopamine lowering. So hypertonia can clinically manifested as proximal. Proximal again. Pay attention that it's proximal, not distal. If it was distal, it could antagonize the tremor and the patient could feel better, but this patient were unlucky. So the hypertonia here is proximal and mostly in the flexor muscles. So the patient has stooped. The patient will have stooped posture. It's like that, stooped posture, because the hypertonia mainly affect flexor muscles. So that's why patients have stooped posture. Pay attention, there is hypertonia due to pyramidal damage, and that hypertonia mainly cause hypertonia in flexor muscles of upper extremity and hypertonia in extension muscles of lower extremities. But here we are talking about Parkinson that cause hypertonia in all flexor muscle in our body. There's a difference. So we compare. Next is kinexia paradox. Kinexia paradox. It's a very specific for Parkinson's disease, means that the patient that the patient face hardening during walking, but if the patient will try to run, it will go easily because some physical. It's like physical causes. So the next character is micrographia. If you ask the patient to write a letter, he will write it very small because due to hypertonia, he will face hardening for extending the letter, for widening the letter, for widening. So the next cause is symptoms is spasticity. And this spasticity we detected during the examination. So one way to check the extra-pyramidal system is by trying to flex the patient's hand and extend also. But you should ask the patient to relax. So relax, please. So we flex and flex and flex. If there is extra-pyramidal disease or extra-pyramidal lesion, we will notice a power resisting us, and this power going to be increased more and more while we are flexing more and more. So especially in Parkinson's disease, this power we describe it as lead pipe. So this power we describe it as lead pipe. If it was pyramidal lesion, first, relax please. First we ask the patient to relax, and we will notice that there is a hardening or a power resisting us at the beginning of trying to flex. Then this power will released, and we'll see that there is easily flexion. The flexion goes more easily than the beginning. So it's opposite like to extra-pyramidal. In extra-pyramidal, it will start a little bit hard, then it will increase by hardening. In pyramidal, it will start hard like from the top, then it will cause easily. So this one way how to detect and differentiate between extra-pyramidal and pyramidal. And by this way we can find out that the patient have extra-pyramidal, when we see a lead pipe like power or resistant. Next is cramp-like sensory manifestation due to the hypertonia. Patient will have some sensory manifestation, and also he will have pain due to stretching of the muscles. Well, the other manifestation is decreased emotions expression. So here the thing that I was talking about at the beginning. So those patients cannot express their feeling. Also, one of the functions of extra-pyramidal system that it help or reflect your emotions. So if you really laughed, how you would know that the one in front of you, your friend or anyone, whether he is honest with you or not? It's the extra-pyramidal system, the one that help you identifying this, because it's the only system helping for reflection of emotions. So if there is no extra-pyramidal system, if there is damaged extra-pyramidal system, there will be unreflected emotions. It's like when you woke up now from sleep, newly especially. Actually, we all had tried the Parkinsons disease. Ask me why. Because all of us, when we woke up newly, especially, like first 5 minutes of waking, especially from deep sleep, we will have just pyramidal system, like we'll have all the central nervous system work except pyramidal system. It's a rule. Pyramidal system work or woke up after when we woke up really by 5 minutes. So we all face the extra-pyramidal system for 5 minutes when we woke up daily. So that's why those patients will have mask face, like no expressions. And when you say a joke, you will not notice any change in emotions. Next is autonomic manifestation, and this autonomic manifestation mainly due to high SHEIKH. We know that SHEIKH controlling the autonomic system, and these autonomic manifestations like sweating, flushing the area, and salivation, but not all the patients have this, some of them. And last clinical manifestation is psychological, and these manifestations like dementia and depression and decreased IQ also, unfortunately. So how would treat this disease is simply like to give a drugs that rise up the dopamine or a drugs that decrease the acetylcholine, or mixing if there is a severe case. So thank you.